Live from the Hub Studios in Atascadero, this is a Clarion Voice. Good morning. This is Mark Sobowitz with the Clarion Voice, and we hope you're enjoying your Tuesday morning. It's a little bit nippy out there, but we hope that you'll stay warm and watch us for a little bit. Today, we're going to be interviewing an old friend, Susan Carter from Freedom Calling, a group that is designed to prevent human trafficking and to inform people about all the dangers that are involved. Susan, thank you so much for coming back. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
You're very welcome. I want to be sure to get this out first. First of all, you are having a town hall meeting on May 12th and 13th, I believe, and tell people about what you're planning on doing with the town hall meeting.
Okay, we're excited to be able to schedule Opal Singleton, who is the CEO of Million Kids and from Riverside, been on the task force down there for at least 20 years. And she's been such a expert in the field of missing kids, training, law enforcement, educators, foster care across the nation on what's really going on with our kids and getting to the root of helping them and restoring and bringing them to a place of safety along with a healthy lifestyle too.
Mhm.
She does the gamut, but she's coming up and she's been an expert in the whole sextortion issue that's recently we're hearing more about. And sextortion sounds like a horrible thing, which it is. It's the extortion of sexual photos, ID. But it's because if you were to ask any middle schooler or high schooler about sexting, a new term where it's texting photos, nude photos of themselves.
Okay.
Everybody has heard about that, whether they do it or not. And 1 in 7, they're saying, admit to sexting in junior high and high school. That's a huge percentage. But what they don't know is that there's over 750,000 predators online at any time, and they represent and pretend to be their friends' friends. So as kids are just wanting to enjoy friendships and build their friends and build their platforms. And, there's this huge push to how to be popular in the tech world. And sexting seems to be at the base of a lot of it. So what happens is that predators will get a hold of this. They'll blackmail them and tell them they want more. They'll ask them to meet up. And kids are doing things without their parents' knowledge or consent. The FBI's report, 2020 report, so this is a few years ago, but they stated that 50% of cybercrime was directed, geared toward and luring 12 to 15-year-olds. Now we're looking at 10 to 15-year-olds. So the ages have dropped. 50% of U.S. cybercrime is geared towards 10 to 15-year-old kids. And that is because of the huge predator problem that we have.
So the parents don't really know about what's going on.
No, where it was, parents are kind of afraid to send their kids down to the local store or, especially with the pandemic, everything was kind of indoors. So But now with the kids having their own phones and iPads, etc., they're walking into their own bedrooms with a predator on that phone, and they don't know who. So it's discernment for those young ages to know, really, is this a friend of a friend? You know, does the picture reflect really who that person is? But that's what we're finding is not the case. So sextortion is starting to increase. And the sheriff's department here in San Luis Obispo recently posted a bulletin. It was, I can tell you, it was February 11th
Mhm.
on Facebook about how sextortion cases were coming across their desk. And that really kind of spurred me into some action to get Opal up into our area to share what's going on and how we can be eyes and ears to the community, how we can prepare our families. And you know, we talked before the show, we don't want to raise, you know, an alarm and a banner in a way that scares people, because that's not the goal. This is about education. So it's how to bring that awareness and education to help in the prevention, and also give tools to the kids so they can know what to do with their friends and be smart about it.
So you're having not only Opal, but you're having representatives of law enforcement and people that are involved also at the town hall
Okay.
meeting, correct?
Yes. Let me share about that. On Friday night, we're going to screen her documentary, Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic, which she has recently released. And that is an investigative documentary spanning several countries, and how one particular Top Gun Air Force pilot, clean cut, all American, lives in a great town and has a beautiful family, how he had targeted some 100 different young women in a sextortion kind of ring. And so it goes into the underground, what has to happen in order to bring this to the light. And that's the documentary. And then on Saturday, we're going to have her speak along with a panel of law enforcement and sheriffs and therapists and psychologists to discuss sexting, sextortion,
Okay.
and how it leads to suicide. And this has been the concern for many, many people, is that the underlying thing here is not just let's have fun with sexting and do a little girly thing here, with our friends, but okay, who are we really sending these photos out to? Who has them? Um, and are we being smart about, our privacy and our personal identity in this exchange? And then, how to prevent the wake-up calls, and how to prevent them from being so isolated and so shamed that they do take their life, that they go down that road.
For people who don't know, what are the signs that people can look for, in the event that they see a situation which is, most unusual? I know you've talked about, the acronym for red flags. So tell people what that represents, as far as what to look for.
Okay, can I go back?
Yeah.
We're having this town hall to bring awareness to our community. As Freedom Calling is learning more about trafficking in general, and there are 25 different industries, so it is a huge undertaking to understand this. It's taken me 8 years to be able to even talk about it like I am today. But the town hall will be in San Luis for the county to come together. And we're going to be showing and screening these documentaries at different places, North County, South County. And we're open to any group inviting us to come in to show them to their people. So
Mhm.
we want to build the momentum. So when Opal comes on the 13th, that we have, a good crowd. So that's the first thing. And then the topic is going to be sexting, sextortion, and suicide, particularly because we need to get a handle better of what's happening in our communities around the nation. But in the process, as we are working in the North County, in the South County, and our eyes are open a little bit more to what the red flags are, that's been helpful in talking to different ones and learning how to help them if they do want help. So it's a complicated situation and there's many layers to it. So red flags in general, when we're just out and about, the acronym for red flags, reluctant to speak, exhausted, dominated or controlled, fearful, long hours at work or long work hours, alienated from family and friends, gifts from older boyfriends, second iPhone, special clothing. You can tell that that has not been their family's level. There's more glitz and glam. And then there's signs of abuse or possible tattoos that are identifying them. I have not seen too much in the way of tattoos. In our area, I mean, I do see them, but not as much. They're going more into the hotels, and they're not just like out street walking and that kind of thing.
If a person sees something reflected of what you were talking about with the acronym, what can they do?
Well, there's a hotline number that has been developed over the last 10, 20 years that is a database of all the information that comes in, and they then reach out to the sheriff's departments, and the sheriff department contacts the local law enforcement. So as it were, where this Corvette pulled into a gas station and it was an older gentleman driving and a young girl got out of the passenger side with very inappropriate, skimpy clothing in the dead of winter, that is a red flag. Okay. And then for her to have no expression on her face, look totally exhausted, is a second red flag.
Mm-hmm.
And then for her to, I wasn't there. It was a friend of mine who saw this and was like, Susan, something's wrong here. I wanted to get a picture of the license, blah, blah, blah. So what we would do at that point is we would contact the human trafficking hotline, which is 888-3737-888, and let them know that at this location, we saw something that didn't look healthy, and there could be some abuse going on there as well. And this is the license plate number, or this is the type of vehicle, and it was heading, we don't know if it was heading north or south.
Right.
On 101.
Right.
So you would give the particulars,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would take that information down, ask you if you wanted to be notified if more information came through, or if you wanted to open up a case. And then you or others in your group could be a part of that case. If, say, like I worked at that gas station,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw this happening repeatedly, that would be a perfect identifier who could be in touch and have cases open with the trafficking hotline.
Do you feel like people are reluctant to say something, even if they did know the red flags?
Well, I had a hard time calling the police department.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I think it's just in our nature. If we don't do these things, we're not used to them, we're not comfortable with them. So, some people call the police department all the time. There's noise, there's a party going on down the street, right? But I live in a quieter area, so I don't normally call them. So I think it is a big learning curve for most people. If you see a red flag, what to do. you're welcome to call me. I don't know, so we can work through this together. And that's a big part of it, is that we're the buffer. We're like, no judgment. We've been there.
Okay, so aside from the website for Freedom Calling,
Yeah.
is there and then there's the hotline number.
Yes.
Is there any other way of contact, in case somebody wants to know about, to be involved in the
Oh, okay.
process?
If they're interested in our organization, we are grassroots, and so we're learning as we go, but we are connected with the San Luis Obispo County's DA's office and their anti-human trafficking task force. So that is a bi-monthly meeting, and anyone is welcome to come. Agencies and nonprofits are there.
Okay.
And it's been a wonderful opportunity to not only connect and hear what is going on with other organizations and the laws, the events that are going on, the changes. This is still all kind of very new for people. It was only in 2010 where the laws were changed so that people got on board. And there's a lot of organizations out there, but as far as seeing it happen in the actual city, in the county, it's hidden. It's very well hidden. And we're talking 25 industries. So you've got the domestic services, the housekeeping, you've got the senior homes, where that is, they bring over workers from the Philippines, or we had a case that broke in Paso somewhere around 2012, 13. And so they look like normal people to you, but it's in the one-on-one relationships. It's learning. I've had people who are interested in what we're doing who have been trafficked by their own family. And so you don't hear about those things. I have a friend who lives in Cambridge, and she was interested, and her daughter was going to Cal Poly, and they helped our group with a fundraiser. And she says, I have this dear friend who just recently came up to me and said, I have not been able to tell you this, but my own family trafficked me when I was younger. And it is something that I've worked through, and I've come out on the other end, but it's not something we talk about. Okay. So whether you're workers in the wine industry and you're in the field, that's an area where we're trying to get a little better handle, or you've come up from Mexico and you are staying at a family home, but as in this one situation, a mom and her kids, she was being trafficked in the sense that she was housed in a storage unit without heat, running water, and they all stayed on one mattress, and the family used them for cooking, cleaning, and that kind of thing. No payment. Their payment was like, you can stay with us. And so it's interesting how you end up seeing these situations or not. You don't even see them. You just hear about them. Whether a friend who works at the hotel industry and they see video equipment going up and down the stairs. And my first question is, are there children? And no, there weren't children. But by the third day, she calls me. There's a 2-year-old that's coming down with them. And I'm like, okay. So we call the trafficking hotline, make a report. She gets their license plate, etc. Those are rare. In a sense, they're rare, but they really are all around us. What's going on in the riverbed? People are exchanging sex for food, drugs, shelter. It's not just money, but the definition of sex trafficking is in the exchange of things that, they need.
With all the efforts that you are putting forth, with the different organizations that are trying to inform people about this human trafficking problem. Do you think that people know enough, or are they better informed now, or do you think that people just still don't want to talk about it? Even if it is within their family.
I think people are so overwhelmed with their own lives that it's something that's on the fringe, if at all. They really are too busy to really think about it. So, so the sextortion situation that is developing,
Hmm.
as families find out and hear more of what's happening within their friends' families, they're going to want to be prepared. They're going to want to know what to do. And so this is a prevention program that we are dripping, bits of information at different times to let them know it's not going away. It's only going to get worse.
Right.
It
Okay.
really is. And I want to be prepared for my kids, my grandkids.
Hmm.
I want to be prepared with my friends to help them be able to know where to go, what to do. And there are those resources, which is great. I think a lot of people think, well, there's no help for people out there, but our law enforcement agencies are getting on board. They are getting training. They are bringing people on staff that make a difference. Just one detective in Paso Robles Police Department came over from the Valley, and she took down 2 massage parlors that have been there for years, where others had tried to take them down, and she took them down with some very clean, logical steps. And that was amazing to me.
Okay. So then, if people, want to know more about what's going on, then they can go to your website,
Yes,
which is
Freedom Calling
freedom.org.
.org. Yes.
Okay. Or else, if they see something, then they can call the hotline number, which is the 888
Yes.
37.
3737-888.
Okay. And then they can call the district attorney's office, or the police, in order to report these things.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably not the DA's office because they deal with the actual
Prosecution.
cases.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do want to share something also. We have a See Something, Say Something bathroom sticker campaign that's going on. And we're putting them in the bathrooms of, public bathrooms, gas stations, hotels, stores, AMPMs, whatever,
Hmm.
and in English and Spanish.
Okay.
And on there, it has the national hotline as well. And you can text Be Free. If you're in a situation that you want to get out of, you can text the letters BEFREE, and that will alert the national hotline as well. That just the texting option has been very, very helpful. The numbers have gone up as far as who have reported.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's in Spanish and English, and it gives a few samples of what red flags are, and hopefully you'll be seeing them around town more.
Okay. Susan, it is always a pleasure to have you come and inform us about the problem. And
Thank you so much.
I always learn more every time
Oh, good.
every time we talk to you. And so please be aware of the red flags, and please take advantage of all the information that Susan has been giving out, whether or not it's calling the police department, or calling the hotline numbers, or getting in contact with Susan through the website of freedomcalling.org. We would really appreciate it, because this is a problem, like Susan said earlier, that's not going to go away. And we need to continue to inform people about that. So we hope you'll take advantage of all that. And Susan, once again, thank you so much for being with us today. And we certainly hope that you'll have a good rest of your week. And this is Mark Sobowitz for A Clarion Voice.